They call it the city of salt and secrets. Welcome to Druskininkai, a secluded, almost hidden sanctuary tucked away within the dense, evergreen forests of southern Lithuania. Legend has it that a local duchess wept so bitterly for her lost love that her salty tears soaked the earth to its very core, transforming ordinary springs into healing waters over which time has no power. Today, we've come here to see for ourselves. Does this ancient magic still linger, or is it merely a beautiful fairy tale whispered by the pines to anyone ready to listen? We've just checked in, but the history of this comfort began long before the arrival of five-star hotels. The name itself is born from the word druska, meaning salt. In the 18th century, the local salt makers, known as the Druskininkai, were the only ones who truly understood why the cattle here were healthier and the grass grew greener. It wasn't just a trade for them, it was a destiny. These people lived in humble wooden huts, boiling the local water in giant iron cauldrons to extract the precious salt. But they soon noticed something extraordinary. Their hands did not age, and their wounds seemed to heal almost instantly. Picture the scene: a heavy mist rising from the Nemunas River, the scent of a wood fire in the air, and local peasants realizing that the bitter water seeping from the earth was, in fact, a miracle. They began to dig primitive pits, lining them with wood, and charging travelers a few coins for the chance to sit in the healing mud. This was the birth of the first wild spas, a primal, raw form of healing. By the late 1700s, rumors of this miracle mud spread like wildfire. People began flocking from every corner of Europe, desperate for a cure for their ailments. This town became a sanctuary. While wars were tearing Europe apart, time slowed down here. The forest guarded the secrets of the water, and the locals guarded the peace of the travelers. In 1794, the king issued an official decree declaring this place a healing territory. The town continued its quiet, leisurely life until 1837, when a grand project for active infrastructure development was approved. This followed the publication of a scientific analysis of the local springs by Ignacy von Berg, a professor at Vilnius University. Suddenly, noble families from Vilnius and Warsaw began erecting grand villas, not just for the sake of health, but for the sake of status. The town transformed into a secular resort where fortunes were gambled away at cards and reputations were forged or destroyed at grand balls. A legendary casino culture took hold. A traveller might spend the morning in a mud bath for their health and the night in a smoke-filled hall, losing their entire inheritance. It was a city of striking dualities: purity and sin, silence and music. Let's walk the streets where history was written in the shadows. This town has seen the faces of those who shaped the destinies of nations. It was here that a man of light and sound grew up. Mikalojus Konstantinas Čiurlionis, the renowned Lithuanian painter and composer. The mystical, ethereal nature of the Druskininkai forests literally seeped into his canvases and his music. His house museum still stands today in the very spot where he spent his most productive and inspired years. Then, there is the legend of the Devil's Stone in the village of Švendubrė. Locals used to say that the devil himself was so frustrated by the peace and beauty of this town that he tried to destroy it by dropping a massive boulder into the river. In reality, this stone served as a site for ancient pagan rituals long after the rest of Europe had forgotten its old gods. Even today, people come to the stone to ask for rain or for love, proving that even as the town became modern, its heart remained ancient, mystical and untamed. Eventually, the Soviet era arrived, bringing with it a completely different atmosphere. Suddenly, the focus shifted from elite social games to the health of the masses. Monumental concrete sanatoriums were built, massive structures that looked more like the backdrops of science fiction films than hospitals. It was a time of strict schedules, mineral water cocktails, and thousands of people moving through the forest like a finely tuned machine. But even beneath the layers of concrete, the salt remained salt. The city learned how to adapt, how to survive, and how to keep its secrets hidden from prying eyes. Today, Druskininkai is a unique fusion: the romanticism of the 19th century, the monumentalism of the Soviet era, and the high-tech innovations of the 21st century. It is a place that simply refuses to be trapped in a single era. Standing before the Church of St. Mary's Scapula, you see more than just red brick. The secret of this neo-Gothic building is the stuff of legends. In the early 1900s, these massive stone walls were actually built around the old wooden church so that services would never have to stop. It was the only place where the Lithuanian, Polish, and Jewish communities of the town found a common language and mutual respect. This is a place of incredible energy. Whether you are here for the architecture or for the silence, you can feel the weight of an entire century of prayers and hopes. It is the anchor of the city, standing firm through every storm and every change of regime. Lake Druskinis is the mirror of the city. Since the 1800s, this has been the premier spot for the promenade. In the 19th century, there was a strict etiquette to follow. One had to walk clockwise around the lake, dressed in their finest attire, to see others, and, more importantly, to be seen. These were the original social networks of the elite. The local waters still remember the floating stages for orchestras and the boat races that drew thousands of spectators to the shores. Even now, in March, as the ice begins to crack, it feels as though the city is holding its breath. Beneath that ice lies the entire history of leisure, from imperial regattas to Soviet rowing clubs. It is the perfect place to truly understand the rhythm of this city, slow, deep, and utterly indifferent to the rush of time. As the sun sets and we return to the warmth of our baths, we realize that Druskininkai is not just a coordinate on a map. It is an experience of time itself. We've managed to catch a tan, we've heard the secrets whispered by the pines, and we've tasted the salt of the earth. No, the journey is far from over. Tomorrow, we step into the Forest of Ghosts. This is not just a park. It is the place where Lithuania buried its Soviet monuments. We are heading to a place where history was literally cast in iron and then cast aside. Prepare yourselves for Grutas Park. It's going to be surreal. Don't miss the next video, where we dive deep into this Soviet time capsule. See you there.